We're joined now by George Wares, Central College head softball coach, as the Dutch are off of a 3-1 weekend road trip to Wisconsin and getting set to return to Iowa Conference action on Tuesday afternoon against Simpson. Coach, tell us a little bit about the weekend road trip. Couple of wins Friday against St. Scholastica, and then a 1-1 split against the hosts Eau Claire on Saturday.
It's a pretty tough trip. You know, you drive 6 hours, and obviously we went Thursday the night before, and then you know, it's in the middle of our conference race, but we wanted to play. We didn't want the weekend off, and it was our bye week. And Eau Claire came last year, you know, here and played us, and we said if we could find another doubleheader, we would play. And St. Scholastica wanted to play, so actually the first day, yeah, surprisingly, it was like 65 degrees and sunny. And it was great weather up there, and we were very fortunate to get that kind of weather to play up there. And St. Scholastica is a nice team. You know, they're not a team that would win the Iowa Conference, but they're clearly going to win their league, I would guess, pretty easily, and most likely their conference tournament. So they'll be in the postseason with the automatic bid. And very, very solid #1 pitcher, and probably threw as well against, not the best pitcher we faced, but probably pitched the best against us, and had us off stride, really changed speeds quite a bit, moved it up and down and in and out, and we were in a bit of a struggle. You know, we were down 2-1 in the 5th and managed to get a couple runs across, 1 to tie, 1 to go ahead, 3-2, and then defensively we were extremely sharp, led in the circle by Kylie Lithberg, career strikeout total for her in 1 game, 14, and that's probably where St. Scholastica is the weakest. You know, they just didn't have a whole lot of offense, and so we were able to hang around enough and then put a couple on the board to get the win. And then game 2, I thought both of our pitchers, Bree Haycraft actually started the game. Their leadoff hitter is tough, and you know, I've said Bree may not give up a home run this year, but that changed in 1 pitch. The leadoff of the game was out, and so we were down 1-0 in that game, and then came back and handled their 2 and 3 pitchers pretty easily and got a run rule win in that one.
And on Saturday, Eau Claire?
Eau Claire, you know, then they were ready for us. You know, it's a big one for them because we have pretty good history against them. We beat them more than they beat us, and obviously got them 3 times last year. And they're much better than they were last year. And first game we played, you know, arguably as well as we played all year. Again, a pretty cloudy but still pretty warm in game 1, and we came out and got to their pitching pretty decisively, scored every inning but 1, I believe, and you know, put up 11 runs, hit 4 home runs in a game, which I'm not 100% sure that might be a record for us, a school record as far as home runs in 1 game. And Kylie was sharp again. You know, she threw a 4-hitter. They were scattered, and they did have one. She had 1 pitch where she hung a little bit, and their 3, 4, 5 can hit it, and 1 kid hit it out, and that was their only run. And she had 8 strikeouts. So you look at that combined effort, back-to-back days, you know, 22 strikeouts, and pitched well both days, and day 2 impressive against a very good hitting team, very good offensive team. And then the second game, you know, it's one of those things where you just keep plugging away, and I thought, you know, we looked like we were in control again, and next thing you know, we're up 5-2, and then all of a sudden, I think from a coaching standpoint, player standpoint, everything just kind of went the opposite way that you needed it to go, and we didn't really have an answer for it. We chose to put Kylie back into the game, and after Haycraft and Fleetwood had both pitched pretty well. In hindsight now, it's easy to say that, you know, probably should have gone a little bit longer with both of those two. But we put her back, and you know, she got us out of an inning, and then we put up a couple insurance runs. At least we thought were insurance runs in the top of the 6th to go up 5-2, and then the bottom of the 6th, you know, Kylie just lost it. It was drizzling at the time, and it was much colder. The temperature dropped steadily, and she just tightened up, and we didn't have a whole lot that we could do about it. And you know, she walked 3 batters in the inning, gave up 1 hit, and then the only choice we had was to go with Katie Timbor, you know, who hasn't pitched much for us this year. And so we just made that flip at first and pitcher, and you know, Katie threw it hard, but you know, not a lot of movement, and we didn't have the off speed there, and the next thing you know, it's double-double, and we go from a 5-2 lead to an 8-5 deficit. So, and then didn't do anything in the top of the 7th, and so you go home from that weekend, and you know, this is what athletics is all about. You have a really good taste, and all of a sudden that 1 inning kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth. And so the biggest thing, obviously, we're going to do in practice is just look at the total picture and how good we were that weekend. And you take away the 1 inning, we played our best softball the entire season up there, and so we've got to forget that. You know, it would have been nice to get it and be 19-1 in region right now and still have that winning streak going. But the bottom line is we didn't, and you know, we'll take 18-2 and 23-3 and see if we can get another winning streak going now.
At the first 3 victories of the weekend, ran a I guess second best in school history winning streak to 23 before it came to an end. 23-3 overall. 4-0 in the Iowa Conference, and you get back into league action Tuesday afternoon. You go to Indianola you and Simpson, the only two teams in the league that are still undefeated, and you get a chance to battle for first place on the field.
Yeah, it's actually a Wednesday game. Wednesday,
Thank you.
And it's a 4 o'clock start. I think our schedule says 3, but they do have lights, so we're scheduled for 4. Could change. I think they're talking about the weather later on Wednesday, so that we might move that to 3 o'clock, depending on what the forecast ends up being. But I think Simpson and us both feel like we're where we had to be, because we both had, if so to speak, teams that are probably going to finish toward the bottom, in Wartburg and BV, and we're 4-0 both against them. And they had a pretty impressive sweep Saturday against Loras. I think Loras opened everybody's eyes when they got the win at Co and played well in the other game, and Simpson handled them decisively in game 1. Second game was 4-2. And so obviously we haven't played each other, we haven't played Luther, and we haven't played Co. So now it kind of all starts. And Simpsons, they're always good. And I think going over there, they lost Oviatt, so clearly they're going to be different in the circle. Ari is pitched well. She was hurt most of last year, and a sophomore that is pitching the majority of their innings, and then they kind of go by committee after that. And they lead the league in hitting, so it's something that they're doing extremely well this year, swinging the bat, and we're going to have to make sure that we play well defensively. And then the big thing after the Simpson game when you go to Loras is, number one, make sure you understand how Loras is very good this year, much improved. And it's always tough in the Iowa Conference, because as soon as it's over, win, lose, or split or whatever, you have to come back in a couple days and do it again, and that's the hardest thing to get players to get a grasp on in our league. It's just not an easy outing, and we're going to have 2 tough ones this week on the road.
And this Saturday is our next return to the radio, as we'll have the Central Loras doubleheader on 92.1 KRLS. So looking a couple of steps ahead to Co and Luther coming up after these next 4 games. What are you trying to get done in these 4 games to set yourself up for that?
Win. I mean, really, it does set up well. I mean, I think, we say every year, you look at the contenders, and this year, us, Simpson, Luther, and Co are the contenders in terms of who's going to win it. And again, that's not disrespecting Cornell and Loras and those teams, because as has already happened, they beat somebody. Loras beats Co, so there are always going to be some of those teams that are going to end up finishing 5 through 9 that will beat one of those top 4. But I think you've got to split with the contenders and then win the rest, and then you're in great shape. You're in 13-3, and sometimes that's good enough to win it. Sometimes that's second. You never know, but 13-3 pretty much, gives you a really good chance to get into the postseason. So obviously that's one of our missions as we go into this week. But going in initially, we're going to try to win all 4 games, because obviously if you do that, you're in great shape, and it takes a little bit of the pressure off, so to speak, when you have a tough week next week with Co and Luther. But I would say by weather permitting, by the time next Saturday night rolls around and we're done with the Luther doubleheader, we're going to have a pretty good feel for where we are, where we aren't, and know what we have to do that last week.
Again, Wednesday night at Indianola against Simpson, and then Saturday at Dubuque against Loras, and we'll have that one on 92.1 KRLS. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, Trevor.
That's George Wares, Central College head softball coach. I'm Trevor Castle.